Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the end of week 3 of my pantry and freezer challenge. We are still going strong. I almost feel guilty because we have had so many nights out, dinner with friends, Christmas parties, so many things that have taken us away from our own kitchen, and we have really not been going through as much food as I anticipated. So let's get into this. I'll show you what we've had this week, what our freezer and pantry is looking like now, and some plans for next week. One night we had chicken spaghetti. This is one of my favorite quick and easy go-to meals. We just need angel hair pasta or spaghetti noodles, cream of chicken soup, some water or chicken broth to thin it out, cheddar, some home canned chicken, or even just one chicken breast in the Instant Pot, and an onion if you have it on hand, and then about 20 minutes in the oven and it is ready to go. It's delicious and simple and is on the table in about 30 minutes. If you are new here, every single Tuesday night is our date night. We've been doing it for 5 or 6 years now, and every other week we take one of our children with us. This week just happened to be our oldest son's date night, and he's home from college on Christmas break. He chose sushi, so we went to our favorite local sushi restaurant, and the children that stay home on Tuesday nights have grilled cheese sandwiches, chips, fruit, vegetables, whatever leftovers are in the fridge are all fair game. It keeps our Tuesdays nice and simple. Later that night, we got home and there was leftover bread, so the kids asked if I would make some cinnamon toast. Butter, sugar, and cinnamon mixed in the blender and spread on homemade bread is the best treat. One night we had meatball subs. There was about half of this bag of meatballs left in the freezer, 2 jars of marinara sauce, both of which were already open in the fridge, and then I needed to get some bread going. I took some of your suggestions and ordered some Vital Wheat gluten off of Amazon to mix with my all-purpose flour, which in turn turns it into bread flour. It works like a charm, and my bread has been just as good even though I have run out of bread flour and all I have left is traditional all-purpose flour. I put the meatballs in the Instant Pot on the slow cooker setting on high for a couple of hours. I poured the sauce in with it and let them warm up while I made the bread dough. When I make things like hot dog buns, hamburger buns, or sub rolls, I am really just winging it. It is just my traditional white bread recipe, and then I am sure to divide the dough evenly amongst however many people we have that we're feeding. So sometimes we end up with smaller sub rolls, and sometimes we end up with nice big ones. This particular night, there were 9 people eating, and they ended up with really nice sized sub rolls for their meatball subs. There were 2 rolls that were purposefully made smaller for my 5 and 7-year-old. Once the bread was done, they added meatballs and melted cheese on top, and that was dinner. Every year, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law host a beautiful dinner for the whole family to celebrate my sister-in-law's birthday. This year, they are flying out to visit her family in Iowa for Christmas, so we aren't even going to be with them. It was really nice to spend an evening with them, and the food is always delicious. The next day, I kind of made up a recipe and we had creamy pesto chicken using homemade pesto from 2020 that was in the freezer with mayonnaise and sour cream. I let the chicken marinate in that for a few days and then I baked it in the oven. We also had mashed potatoes with some red potatoes that were on the verge of going bad and some leftover homemade rolls from when we went to my in-laws the night before. I decided to make some blueberry muffins. There were the small wild blueberries and some blueberry muffin crumble topping that had been in the freezer since April. I used my very favorite blueberry muffin recipe from scratch. Unfortunately, it just made over 2 dozen muffins, which of course were gone within 24 hours in my house. I cleaned up the kitchen really well, and then I had one more project. Homemade eggnog using some of our excess eggs that I water glassed a few months ago. My husband and my boys love eggnog. I like to buy it at Sam's this time of year. Our favorite brand is Southern Comfort, but eggnog in general is so expensive. It is so sweet. It's probably terrible for you. However, I remember that it's not difficult to make it. So I decided I had quite a bit of heavy cream still in the fridge and all of these excess eggs. So I decided to have my hand at trying it from scratch. I have to tell you, last year, one of my sons attempted to make it on his own, and he did not know what temper meant, and he ended up with chunks of scrambled eggs in his eggnog. So it was kind of more of a fusion with egg drop soup meets eggnog. So they were really excited to see that I was making it this year and not Jessie. One thing I have noticed about my water glassed eggs is that the yolk and the white of the eggs tends to be runnier the longer it's been in the water glass solution. So some of these yolks, I don't know if you could tell from the video, some of the yolks broke as I was trying to strain off the whites. Once you have heated your milk and spice mixture up, then you slowly start to temper the warm mixture in with your egg yolks and your sugar. I did this by slowly adding a tiny bit of the warm mixture at a time while constantly whisking the egg yolk and sugar mixture. Surely there has to be an easier way than this. If you have a great eggnog recipe or any tips for this, I would love to hear it in the comments. This part of the process was not fun. I think at this point I was praying that none of the eggs solidified. When the eggnog was finished and cooling on the countertop, I decided to go ahead and put all of my broken yolks and all of those whites in the frying pan and cook them up to give to the dogs. It still totally amazes me that these fresh eggs have been sitting in this water glass solution for 4 months, and I pulled them out and they look, taste, and smell just as if they had been pulled out of the nesting boxes this morning. It's really amazing, and I'm glad I thought to cook these up and give them to the dogs. Once the eggnog was cool, I poured it into a pitcher and stuck it in the fridge. I don't personally care for eggnog, so I didn't even take a sip of it, but my husband and the kids said it was really good. I'll probably make one more batch leading up to Christmas Day. All right, let's check out the freezers in the pantry. This is the top shelf of our kitchen freezer. As you can see, there's still a full-size leftover hash brown casserole from Thanksgiving, a few of my low-carb, no-bake cookies left, and thankfully, one less jar of pesto. In the lower shelf, you can see there's still a few bags of broccoli, all of that cottage cheese. There's still some blueberries left. That lasagna filling is in that ricotta cheese container. There's lots of frozen bananas, so we need to make sure and eat up some broccoli and also some frozen fruit in the next week. Here are the top 2 shelves of our big upright freezer. We still have so much meat. Of course, some of this venison is newly added, but we still have tons of chicken, frozen veggies, ground beef, ground sausage. Some of it's already cooked and ready to be used. I'm really looking forward to planning our menu for the week after Christmas and really intentionally using up some of this stuff. The bottom 2 shelves, you can see we've got butter, some yeast that I moved over from the kitchen freezer, pepperoni, green beans. There's some more ground sausage or beef right there that's already been cooked. And on the very bottom, there's lots of peas and carrots and lots of sliced and diced peppers from the garden. In the door, we have a partial bag of ice, a small portion of tomato sauce, some alcohol, and there's a little bit of frozen cauliflower down below. In the top half of the door, we have more venison. This was kind of placed here before we got the new freezer. We still haven't picked up the rest of the venison. There's about 200 pounds still at the processor. And next to those ice packs is a little bit more frozen cauliflower. I don't think we went through anything on the top shelf last week. There is an almost empty bottle of pancake syrup. We went through about 2/3 of a bag of sugar. We actually didn't go through that much. We just refilled the container in the kitchen cabinet. I don't think we did any grits last week, so I definitely want to put that back on the menu for next week. I'm going to put chicken fettuccine Alfredo on. I think I'm actually going to make that tonight if I have time to make more noodles. We did use some marinara sauce for meatball subs. We have not done our Christmas baking yet, so we still have the butterscotch chips and the candy cane kisses and marshmallows. Those are all for, and those dried cranberries back there. Those are all for Christmas baking. We haven't gone through any of this canned meat. We probably won't. That's just going to stay there. I know we went through a box of graham crackers last week for lunch snacks. And then down here, we have not used the Chex yet. We'll probably make Muddy Buddies. That basket is completely empty of school stuff, school snacks. There's no more fruit cups or granola bars. All that's left is one acorn squash and one little spaghetti squash. A viewer made a comment about using that cranberry sauce up there on the right for cranberry chicken, which was a recipe that went around on YouTube for Croctober, and she left the link, so I think I will be putting that on the menu for this week. Thank you for that. We're still sitting the same with ramen noodles. We did not end up using those baked beans. Lots of applesauce. This stuff has really been almost untouched. I am just amazed at how little food we are going through. Again, we are going to extend this challenge through the end of January because this month has just been so off with dinners and parties and things that have taken us out of the home. It still has not required us to go to the grocery store. We've done no grocery shopping, but I'm just amazed at how little food, how little of a dent we have gone through in this pantry. So we did use a little bit of cream of chicken soup this past week for the chicken spaghetti. We used, let's see, I don't think we used any black olives or any of this stuff this past week. Oh, I did use some artichokes to make a spinach and artichoke dip. I didn't use any of these home canned goods, but I did use several jars of chicken stock. We haven't had to open the new bag of basmati rice yet. We haven't gone through any more Ritz crackers, and I have not had a spare minute to can any more beans. You can see the extra large corn is still up there. We did open a new thing of oats, although I have not made homemade granola bars yet. I promise to post that recipe when I get around to it. I don't believe we went through any more Jiffy Mix this week. I think we did open another container of peanut butter. We didn't use any more soy sauce or salsa, but it does look like we opened another container, another bottle of ketchup. So I moved those spicy mustards over. I think I will put chili mac and cheese on the menu for this week because we could use up some of the elbow noodles and that other block of Velveeta. The chow mein noodles are for making haystacks for Christmas. Haven't used any lentils yet. That needs to go on the menu. Haven't needed to use the minestrone. And then down here, this is just, let's see, we did go through our very last onion, which was back there in that bowl. This is just our big box full of croutons and some French fried onions. Of course, we are not using the croutons since we do not have any more salad greens right now. There's our last bag of chips, some baking soda, pickling salt, a random battery. I don't know why that is sitting in my pantry. There is the Vital Wheat gluten that I've been using to turn all-purpose flour into bread flour. It's been working great. And we are almost through that bag of pancake mix. And then I think we've got about 5 bags worth in this bucket right there. All right, friends, that wraps up week 3. This coming week, I plan on opening up those freezers and really using especially the vegetables. I don't like letting vegetables sit in the freezer for too long. They start to get freezer burned and they just lose their flavor and they don't look as nice. So I'm excited to see what I can come up with for next week's menu. We are definitely going to need to be detoxing from all of the Christmas goodies, and I will go ahead and tell you right now we are hosting Christmas, so I guarantee all of our family that's coming to town is going to be bringing food, bringing groceries, bringing pre-made dishes that they've made at home. I'm excited about it. I'm not concerned with it affecting this challenge at all, but I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you again at the end of next week.